It's been a long season, it has been a fun season, and now sadly it is drawing to a close. But we still have one more race for us to enjoy today, so welcome along to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix Season 15 finale in the Wheel2WheelRacing AL2 Championship, and we're here at one of the richest and most glamorous places on Earth, and also the place that has hosted the final Formula One race of the season for the last several years. We're here in the United Arab Emirates. It's the Yas Marina circuit, built back in 2009. It's a 3.45-mile circuit with 21 corners, 12 to the left and 9 to the right. There's 2 DRS zones, and we hope to see a lot of overtaking into the heavy braking zones at Turn 8 and Turn 12 using those 2 DRS zones. We're going to have 55 laps of racing after qualifying today, and we'll likely see a few different strategies from our drivers because the tire situation is an interesting one. We're in the softest in the Pirelli range, the C3, C4, and the C5. Soft C5 tire is the quickest over the mediums by nearly 7/10, and quicker than the hards by nearly 2 seconds. So the soft and the medium, definitely the preferred tires, but we will see which of those tires is the best race tire to be on. Some of our drivers starting to come out of the pits as we are underway in qualifying. We look forward to one final great race here in Season 15 at Wheel2WheelRacing.
Yep, no surprise to see the weather is set to be clear. Slightly overcast at the start of the race, but we will have a dry Abu Dhabi, which is no shock there. We are also joined tonight by All Shot Dan. He will be commentating with us.
Yeah.
A few cars out on track now, most of them looking to set a flying lap on the softs. Old Dad's Rules is out first for his flying lap, and he is set to have a good race here after his first pole last race, which was a phenomenal achievement for Old Dad's.
Yeah, Old Dads will be feeling very good after last week, getting that first win in his wheel-to-wheel career, and it was a dominant performance, and he's coming around the last couple of corners looking to start the first flying lap of this qualifying session. Yeah, that's really
last season. Got a 1:35.3 was the set pole time, so we'll see how all the other cars fare.
Actually coming in with a 136.1, so That won't be enough to challenge our provisional pole time at the moment. And our AL2 champion, Just Mikey, crosses the line as he begins his first flying lap. We'll keep an eye on how his lap goes.
Yeah, Mikey last season set a 1:36.3. That was on some soft tyres, so we'll see how he gets on. He's setting the purple sector 1 for now, so he's looking good.
Sega Katala's putting in a good lap on the medium tire, which nearly 7/10 slower than the softs, but still a very competitive lap at 1:36.3, puts himself 4th for the time being.
Yeah, that 7/10 deficit would put him only a 10th behind pole right now. But Mikey looking very strong on this lap. He previously DNF'd last season at Abu Dhabi, so he'll be looking to score points here and not DNF, because if he does, then he would have scored points in every single race this season, which is a massive achievement. And as he's coming down across the line, he sets a 1:35.8 on the soft tyres, only 3/10 off pole. So just goes to show how strong Old Dad's opening lap was, to be 3/10 in front of the current champion, who did get a purple sector 1. So again, strong lap there from Old Dad. It's a very powerful toe down this back straight with DRS assistance. Yeah, nothing's on the line anymore, so gloves are... Yeah,
and then the man who challenged our champion all season long, Bannister, coming around the final corner, beginning his first flying lap.
Yeah, just a bit on Appleplex. He's not had the most consistent season. He's had a few DNFs and a few DNSs where he wasn't able to attend, so his scores with only 58 points is probably not reflective of the skill of the driver, because I just think if he were to be in attendance each race, I think his skill would push him much further up the table. But speaking about much further up the table, as you say, we're on board with Bannister. How is he going to fare on his first flying lap?
Well, it was a purple sector 1. So it was a good start to the lap, and he's kept it nice and tidy through the chicane in between the DRS straights.
He has said that Abu Dhabi is not one of his strongest, but Purple Sector 2 is proving him wrong.
Yeah, but this third sector is so difficult to get right. Curbs can really unsettle the car, and so much time could be made or lost in this final sector.
A lot of downforce would benefit you in Sector 3, but it would hurt you in Sector 1 and 2, so as you say, if it was strong Sector 1 and 2, he might not have the best Sector 3. Oh, and he's a bit loose on the back end there, but he does improve with a 1:35.6, puts him up into the second row.
Yep, and we have the Red Bull of Prev coming around the final corner. He improves up to 6th with a 1:35.96. The letdown of State can improve his position. But, as you say, it is a unique first sector. It's not a long run down into turn 1. And then turns 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all can be so difficult to navigate at the start of the race, so depending on which side of the track you're on, I would think being on the right side of the grid would be the more beneficial. Just trying to get a good run out of turn 1, carrying more speed. And that can really help you into 2 and 3 as well.
No, it shows up. I think you know when you're in the game and on your top left you've got the 2 cars in front of you. I think for some reason it defaults to show you purple if you're faster than the sector of the car, 2 cars in front of you, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's some very tight times there between 2nd and 5th, really. It's only a couple tenths separating those. But Sega, he's been showing some promising pace. He's set the most fastest laps this season with 7. And it was only just taken off him last week. He nearly had 8 until Mikey stole it as he crossed the finishing line.
Yeah, Sega. Sega definitely improved a lot this season, and he's very similar in terms of pace with Dastardly as we've seen the last few weeks. So it'll be interesting seeing them start next to each other on the grid.
Old Dad's just pulling into the pits. He was looking to set a lap, but he did invalidate. So has he got enough time to get back out? He's got a strong time there, but it's quite a distance away from Bannister, but as is everybody else. Few people with that time now.
In the pits would likely need to get out now if they want to have time for one more run, as we see our champion Mikey
I missed the fact that Steger had jumped old Dad's onto the front row, so he won't have time to set another lap, but he looks to be pretty happy with that.
We have Dastardly coming across the line. He improves. He goes up to third with a purple sector 3. Dastardly was actually slower through the first 2 sectors there, but he made up for it with the fastest third sector of the session, and he puts it into P3.
Old Dad's... No, that's cool. I was just going to say, with 30 seconds to spare, he crosses the line with his final chance to set a improving time here. So who else have we got? Prev's about to cross the line. He was 1/10 up on his time, and he is still 1/10 up, and he just jumps Mikey.
Mikey then coming into Sector 3 now, sets a purple Sector 2. We'll see how much he can improve. We know Mikey has the pace to get up there on the front row with Bannister. But we've also seen some qualifying sessions he hasn't been able to put it together and has started further back than he would have liked sometimes.
Letdown Estate has just jumped him up into 7th place, so Mikey is sitting 9th at the moment, but he was 3/10 faster, which should put him up somewhere near Old Dad's.
Dastardly pulling into the pits as well.
Yeah, so a few things we missed there. Mikey crossed the line, putting him up into 5th place, which he was just behind Old Dad's.
Well, what an exciting qualifying session that was, and once again, it is Bannister on pole by some margin this week.
Yeah, nearly 5/10. And then the rest of the grid is the other 5/10 of the second that separates the entire field.
That is crazy.
So that concludes our qualifying session at Abu Dhabi, and we have Bannister on pole by 5/10, which was a phenomenal showing from Bannister. We have Sega de Cos in 2nd place, which is a good showing from him. Dastardly in 3rd, Old Dad's in 4th, Just Mikey in 5th, Appleplex in 6th, CHM in 7th, A Letdown Estate in 8th, and Prev in 9th. And that's only just a second that separate the entire field. Nearly 5/10 separate 8 cars there. Yeah, this would normally be the place where I would run through the stand-ins, but I will just briefly go over them because there's not many changes that can happen here. 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th are all pretty set. Mikey with 14 podiums, 4 wins and 6 fastest laps. He has 349 points. Bannister with 13 podiums, 3 wins and 1 fastest lap. He has 283 points. And Dastardly with 9 podiums, 2 wins, 2 fastest laps. He has 252 points. Then Stevo would have been in 4th place with 225 points. And then in 5th is Sega to Cos with 6 podiums and 7 fastest laps. He's still not yet been able to get that race win, but with this cast points. One of the movements that could happen this race is Williams would be able to take Alpha Tauri, which actually, looking at the standings, they're the wrong way around on the sheet anyway, so Williams are ahead of Alpha. So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's a close battle for 6th place, which is between A Letdown Estate, Prev and CHM. A Letdown Estate heads with 141 points. 3 points behind him is Prev, and 7 points behind him is CHM. But CHM, no, he can't be taken from Old Dads. The only other position that could change is Strident, who isn't here. So never mind, forget that. Would that have been the season when me and you would have been here for the season finale for season 13, having both been at the top of the driver's title for a long time?
Well, then the strategies for today, it'll be interesting to see which way our drivers go. I think everybody will be starting on the softs as they all set their qualifying times on the soft tires, so they'll be starting the race on that same set. And we saw a few different strategies on Wednesday in the AL1 race. I believe the soft, medium, medium ended up being the optimal strategy, but a couple of the other suggested strategies were a 3-stop, going 3 stints on the softs, and the hards could come into play. If you wanted to try a 1-stop, it is doable, but likely not the optimal strategy. But who knows? As we've seen several times throughout this season, in AL2, some of our drivers just like to throw a wrench into things, just for the hell of it. So strategies will be something to watch for today.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it's always. I mean, if there is safety cars, though, it's important for our drivers to make sure on the safety car restart that they keep it on the track as well.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
that's always important.
Yeah. You know, you have to watch out for some. Well, I just care for the drivers when they have to watch out for solid cars around turn 20. You know, in two separate leagues as well. It's just, you know, you'd think someone would learn the first time. But the 30-second counter has begun, and we will be starting the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix shortly. I know. Before he had a fast car and internet issues, and then, you know.
Um, The cars are underway on the formation lap. Get their tires and brakes up to temperature. As Bannister leads the way once again.
Yeah, all cars starting on them red soft tyres. Will they be locked into their strategies? Will they be going soft mediums? Will they be going soft, medium, soft? Will they be going soft mediums? Who knows? We will have to wait and find out. Will a safety car change their strategy? That sounds like your new name. Sorry, I had to. We can't hear you on the stream, all shut.
I think Mikey is, of course, always a candidate to make his way through the pack.
Let's try that one again. Now I fix my technical issue that I had.
Do you change your party setting?
Yeah. And I wish I was recording so I could at least have everything that I've just set up until this point, but I'm not.
Well,
there we
just
go.
in time for the race as our drivers are coming around the last corner and back onto the start-finish straight. The virtual fans look on with anticipation of what they're about to witness. We've got 9 drivers today in the season finale here at Wheel2WheelRacing. One more race in Season 15. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing in Abu Dhabi. Bannister gets a flying start. He leads the way down into Turn 1. Dastardly challenging the Williams and Old Dad's round.
Dastardly caught the front of Old Dad's.
He left the door open going into Turn 1. Old Dad's went to send it, and I think it was just 2 cars going into one corner again. Like I said, the first lap can get close. 3 cars, they're looking like they may have picked up damage and let down Mikey and Old Dad's. So Mikey, championship winner. Be interesting to see what he can do here if he has had any damage, and if he has to make that first lap pit stop, what pace can he pull out of that run?
And then further ahead, Bannister still leads down the back straight. No DRS yet, but Segatakal's right behind him. And Dastardly not too far away.
Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a strong race for Sega as he is looking around the outside of Bannister already on lap 1, coming down in sector 2. Can he take the position? No, Bannister seems to be pulling ahead. And Bannister keeps that position. But it's looking like a strong race for Sega as some of these competition has already been hindered at the start and may need an early pit. So he's going to have to capitalise on that opportunity to see if he can get his first ever race win here at Wheel2Wheel.
Well, it's definitely going to be doable if you consider how powerful that DRS can be around here. All he has to do is stick to the back of that Mercedes like he's doing already. I know we're on the first lap, but lap 3 DRS is active. If he can stay where he is now, even with Dastardly as well, we could have all 3 of them with a nice 3-way fight here for the win, or even just for the lead for the time being. It could definitely be an interesting one.
So really unfortunate for those back 3 cars. I reckon all but one are probably going to pit. Yeah.
Old Dad's staying out.
Old Dad seemed to have...
Front 3 currently within DRS range of each other. Everyone else, yeah, is over a second already on this second lap.
And a big gain out of this opening part of the race, even with that first lap damage. Prev up 4 positions, started last, he's up to 5th. And he's just hanging on to the back of the Mercedes of Apoplex there. So again, could be having a strong finish here. Top 4 possibly, depending on the strategies here, could even be chancing at a podium this evening.
Yeah. as you say, Prev really making the most of that race start and gaining 4 positions. Old Dads and Mikey being the biggest losers at the moment, having lost 3 places each. But Old Dad's showing that he's not out of this race by setting the fastest lap.
However, that's a very quick response from Bannister though, with a purple first sector as well, straight in response. So these cars are just going to get quicker as the fuel burns away. The lap times are going to drop, and we're really going to see who does have the pace around here this evening.
DRS enabled, and not one single car is within DRS range. CHM may have an opportunity down the second straight.
Dastardly might be getting it on Sega's cars if he can nail this chicane. He was closing. As we know, Dastardly likes to have low downforce and great straight line speed. He closed the gap to a second into the chicane, but they get able to get through and extend the gap over that 1 second. Ooh, but Sega getting a little loose as they come through Sector 3.
Yeah, he's really dropped off Bannister now, and Dastardly is closing in on him.
He just needs that sniff of one chance, and that Ferrari guy, he's definitely going to go for it. I know very well from he doesn't ever take he doesn't need a second invite to go for a move or take a position. So he's a hard racer, and it'll be interesting to see what he can do against that Williams.
Bannister 2 seconds ahead now, just had a little wobble between turn 20 and 21. Riding the curb quite a lot, but he's feeling probably pretty safe having started this race. And now 2 seconds ahead.
These Mercedes guys really putting on a very similar performance to the real life Formula 1. The Mercedes has one chance against him and then just has a nice open track to start building a gap on, so these guys are doing a great job of replicating the season.
So Dastardly.
Now he will have DRS for Dastardly here. A chance to show off that straight line speed as he closes in on Sega Takaz in second.
Filling that Williams mirrors up with the red, they're trying to put him off as he comes off the line. I think the best chance would be if he gets a decent drive coming out of here. Wobble by Sega. Is he close enough? Sega's gone very wide offline there, Dastardly straight up the inside. That'll be a nice easy move with the Ferrari driver. Like I say, one chance is all Dastardly needs, and he's going to take that position.
Yeah, purple sector 2 as well. Very good straight line speed from the Ferrari with DRS assistance. He's able to get into second.
See what we can do and hunt down Bannister now, see if he can put a challenge up to this Mercedes. It just seems to be so dominant so far.
Yeah, but Sega needs to hang on if he wants to take the opportunity of trying to get his first race win. He's lost the position out to Dastardly, but it's still a long race, still a long strategy game which can be played here.
A bit of a wobble for Old Dad's there. He's coming around to the second to last corner. Again, a corner that I know AL2 too well. It's very dangerous. Ironically in a racing point as well, but he's bringing that gap down to CHM, down to 3.7 after that first lap incident. So he's clawing his way back in. He's showing he's definitely not out of the fight yet, and he wants to prove he's got something to do it.
Yep, Sega will have DRS on Dastardly down this first DRS straight. Will his straight line speed be any match for the Ferrari? In fact, the Ferrari is pulling away.
Like I said, the old guard, Dastardly, you know, he knows what he's doing. He's very good at defending all around. It's the experience that comes with the league. He's done enough races. He knows what he's going to need to do to not only close in on Bannister, but also keep that Williams behind him and get on with his race.
Yeah, Sega obviously with some high downforce there, because that straight line speed of the Ferrari just couldn't be beaten, even with DRS assistance.
Turns 11, 12 and 13 catching out the other Mercedes though of Apoplex. Unfortunately running a little bit too wide over the curves and picking up the first penalty of the race this evening. Again, penalties as well, something else that could just change the entire front of how the race results are.
Yeah, penalties is something typically Bannister and Dastardly are very good at not picking up.
I was preparing myself there for another snipe, but I'm glad you didn't. So as we come down to the final corner here, Old Dad's down to 2.5 now on CHM. He's reeling in that Renault. He's really not holding back on what he can do in this racing point so far.
And we have a yellow flag. Bannister is out.
Lost it coming over the crest in turn 3 by the looks of it on the right hand side of the track, straight into the barrier.
We have double yellow flags, but no safety car. That would have been
something that the other guys would have wanted.
Yes, Mikey and the Letdown Estate would have really appreciated a safety car at this point of the race, but they don't seem to want to come out as much anymore.
Clearly he hasn't got the knack of it just like you have, Blue. But the Dubai marshals are just very good with clearing the cars up around this track.
Yeah.
So, the man who was showing the most pace out of everybody, the man who was 5/10 in front of the rest of the pack in qualifying, and who was running away with it in the opening laps, is out of the race. And now Dastardly is our race leader.
Yeah, and he is pulling away.
Oh, he's getting very loose.
However, I just want to point out as well, Apoplex, the Mercedes driver I mentioned earlier, we got Bannister out, but he's nearly to us, well, he's just on the brink of 1 second to Sega. So we could see another Mercedes coming through with a resurgence here, showing that the car can still perform.
Yeah, Apoplex really closing the gap to Sega. He should have DRS assistance on this first DRS straight if he can maintain that gap to him now.
There's one quick fight before they get onto the back straight there that I keep an eye on here, which is Letdown Estate and Mikey, both on the mediums, and Letdown Estate's actually reeling him in. Down to 1.5 seconds now on our championship winner of the season.
Yeah, I'm sure that gap was about 3 seconds in him.
Right on the gearbox, coming out of the hairpin, and he will be flying past with DRS down into the chicane. He's well clear of the Williams. We'll see if Sega will try and come back down the second DRS straight.
Can't help but think that that Williams driver must start contemplating now what strategies he must have to play to try and throw these front two off. He had the pace in quali, so we know we've got it in the car, but he's right now just struggling to find his groove. He's losing out to both the Ferrari and the Mercedes driver now, so they need to do something down in that garage to really get him back up into the position, or on track position, where he really should be.
Yeah, his weakness might be the downforce, because he's certainly got the setup to set a rapid lap, but then at the same time it seems that he doesn't have the pace where he needs it when he's behind a car, because in these windy sections in Sector 3 he can't get the move done, but I think that's where his setup strength is. Straight line speed, even with DRS assistance, he just doesn't seem to have any in comparison to his competitors.
Just a quick update as well on the racing point. He's only 1 second behind CHM now, so just like that, 8 laps in, he's straight onto the back of the cars. Just up the road again is the Red Bull, so this could be what he needs. Old Dad's he's slowly clawing his way back in. He's keeping the life in those tyres. Just needs to show that he can keep up this pace. Right strategy. Could definitely see him back up near the front come this latter half of this race if he keeps his pace up.
Legate's dropping out of that 1 second DRS window, but Old Dad's well within DRS range of CHM. They come on to the first DRS
straight line. It's going to be very, very quick in a straight line. I think a lot of the time that Racing Point's making up is in these corners.
Yeah, CHM is another one who likes his straight line speed. So this will be a difficult overtake for Old Dads if he does have the opportunity to go for it.
And he's just going to take it.
Round the outside, can he make it stick? Very smoothly done by last week's race winner, and Old Dads moves up into P5.
Good racing as well, left the line open just in case CHM was there, so fair racing between the two drivers now. He can just get his head down and crack on to the next car on track.
Ooh, but he went a little bit loose, riding the curb a bit too much there, but yeah, as you say, very good job, very clean racing there from Old Dads. We know he needed to get the job done, and that's what he did.
He's certain these curbs have been on board the last couple of laps. He's taken the same line over a couple of these curbs. Maybe he's just used to the little slide now he's getting out somehow.
Unlike other people. What I just really have don't like the fact that now when I watch back this stream, you're going to hear me and Matt talking and not you.
Well, I've changed the settings, so hopefully it is working now.
It's working now,
yeah,
yes.
all through qualifying, it's like I just sat here and took it.
Nobody's going to hear how amazing your first onboard was, which was a pretty epic onboard, I must say. And also the 5-minute interval between race while we was having a bit of friendly banter. It's just going to sound like me slagging you off and you not responding.
That's fine. That's fine. They didn't hear me crying, so that's less for me.
Yes, yes. Your street cred is retained.
I might have to sneak an onboard at some point during the race then to make up, but
that sounds like a good idea. I'm sure this race will pan out where we'll have plenty of opportunity to talk, but a letdown estate is still chasing down just Mikey, still within that 1.6 range, but he was 3 seconds earlier in the race, so he has clawed some of that deficit back.
So I've just realised as well the gap at the front. Sorry to interrupt you, Bloom. 1.5 seconds. The Apoplex really clawing that time back on dastardly. I thought the gap was over 2 seconds only like a lap ago. So Mercedes, fine. Mercedes on the grid, really showing that Mercedes still want to take the win here this evening.
Yeah, they lost the one car of Bannister, so Apoplex has decided I need to step this up and retake the race win for the race lead for Mercedes. But yeah, as you say that, Sega clearly dropping back as Apoplex is making his advance. Prev 3 seconds behind. Old Dad's now looking to make a move on Prev. He's 1.6 seconds behind, so we'll monitor that and see how that progresses as the race goes on.
It'll be interesting to see how long Mike in a letdown estate can go on those mediums, just to see how far they can take them in regards to the strategy to try and bring the race back into it. But sorry, no, Blue. No.
Well, talking about strategy, I was going to check with Matt, our data expert, on what the soft tyres are doing wear-wise and where we're going to be looking at our first round of pit stops.
Yeah, so the soft tyres, of course, the lowest lifespan, they could go a maximum of 25 laps, according to Pirelli, but of course, as always, on this first stint, they won't be going near that long. We saw on Wednesday around lap 14 to 15 is when people started coming in, and our medium runners, Mikey in a letdown estate, could very well stretch a two-stop from that early pit stop and just go medium and then another set of mediums to carry them to the end, because those can go a max of 34 laps, but we saw several drivers comfortably take mediums well over 20 laps on Wednesday, so don't think Mikey in a letdown estate will have an issue doing that. But we should see those soft runners start coming in here in the next few laps.
Well, as you were talking there, CHM came into the pits and he's set on to a set of mediums now. But
one thing I just have to ask, they say about Wednesday's race going more than 7 laps. I didn't know there was 14 laps in that race. Let alone 20.
Ooh, self-burn. Yeah, Mikey's not really been able to make much of an advantage on most of the cars, as he was 22 seconds behind his teammate CHM, but is now 25 behind Old Dad.
And
So
CHM within DRS zone as well of Mikey. Puts a little bit of Renault inter-team battling here. See if any orders are in play. Because, well, whoever's going to be quicker on track, surely they want to leave out front.
very interesting strategy from CHM. As we were discussing the length of the soft tyres, he's pitting earlier than...
He's coming after his teammate here.
I think Mikey's just let him through.
Mikey's just... yeah. Not often we see Mikey getting out of the way, even if it is for his teammate, because usually Mikey is the quicker of the two Renaults.
There you go, the next car to come into the pits as well, followed by Prev, so two other early stoppers here. Surely they may be reacting to CHM, but this is obviously, they must trigger a reaction here for the front three now as well. Old Dad's up to third now, but Apoplex and Dastardly, are they going to react to Sega? Because on fresh rubber, this could be the time he needs to pump in those quick laps and bring that gap back down.
It could be, but Sega's gone on to mediums. Prev's on to a set of softs, but is this really the best strategy? As we was talking about, this is all very early, so Old Dad's Apoplex and Dastardly could be key here to getting the strategy right. Because yes, the fresh rubber will benefit you with a better lap time for now, but we need to look at the overall race strategy, don't we?
And back on strategy as well, Mikey's sticking with CHM, so this could be just a ploy for him to keep his tyres going that little bit longer. Stick in the toe of his teammate maybe and just prolong the stint he's trying to pull off now.
Well, he's not yet benefited from any of it, as he's still about 2.5 seconds from a letdown state. And now he's even outside of DRS range. But we will flick to Dastardly and Apoplex, both staying out for now. Just still think is the right call. And Old Dad's looks like he's in.
After that first lap spin, his tyres must have taken a bit of extra wear and tear there, so maybe it was a matter of time before he was going to have to pit anyway, a little bit earlier than the guys around him. Another set of softs they're chucking on the Racing Point, it is, so he's going for another quick stint here. So maybe covering off Prev, trying to get back on track against that Red Bull. Pumping some more quick time, trying to get that track position for the latter half.
Yeah, we saw some of the strategies Wednesday. It looked like the mediums with a better tire for the second stint, as those softs degrade so quickly. But that could change today. So it'll be interesting to see Prev and Old Dad's both on the softs, Sega to Cause, and CHM on the mediums. See how those deltas change.
Just an interesting one to note as well. Bear in mind, Old Dads didn't have to stop on the first lap where Mikey and a letdown state did. So they were about 20 odd seconds behind after making that extra stop. Now down by about 8 seconds behind him on track. So clearly those softs were going off, and the mediums have given the pace to just slowly crawl their way back into this fight. So really no one is down and out yet this evening. It's just going to be seeing who pits when. The strategy is going to be probably the most important thing tonight. More so than race pace, hazard, I guess.
Yeah, really good spot there. Really good analogy of the fact that, as you say, Old Dads and Mikey was together towards the end of lap 1. And Mikey's only a few seconds down the road from him now.
And he's still got the quicker tyre to go onto if he opts to go for another set of softs, where Old Dad's, he's now locked in, he's going to have to run the mediums at some point now. So again, it may not be down to who's just out and out quicker this evening, it's just going to be on the right tyre at the right time on track.
Sega setting the fastest lap with the 1:41.0. So Old Dad's really close now to Prev. Almost within that DRS range. He's got 1 lap fresher tyres, so is that going to help him?
I mean, just to quickly catch up back at the front there, I said about Sega pitting early to try and do an undercut. He is on a set of mediums, but he is now within a pit stop of Apoplex, and well, maybe a lap or two away of even getting the undercut on Dastardly, so we could be looking at a jump from third to first here with an early pit stop.
That is what Sega would need. He'd need a strategy to work for him in that way, but he'd need it to have the longevity to actually get the race win also.
Apoplex, they're picking up a second penalty as well, unfortunately. Just those curves are just, well, tire grip must be going away or something, because unfortunately it might cost him at come the end of the race, but he's holding steady pace here with Dastardly, both equaling around about the same times. So it's just going to be seeing when they decide to pit onto what tyre, because as just then the guys behind on the fresher rubber are really starting to bring down the lap time.
Yeah, Old Dad's rule, setting the fastest lap of the race and closing the gap to the Red Bull in front. At the same time, he's just under 0.6 behind Prev as they come towards Sector 2.
Yeah, it might have took him a lap or two to switch them tyres on, but now that he's got them on, he is rapid.
Old Dad's on the overtake button, quickly coming out of the hairpin. Prev looked to have gotten a really good exit there though, and he's maintaining a decent gap as they come into the chicane. Oh, now Old Dad's is that much closer this time around. Not much overtake to work with for the Racing Point. He's struggling to close the gap. Is he gonna send it down the inside? Yes, he is. Can he make it stick? Yes, he can. Old Dad's up into fourth. A great move from the Racing Point driver.
And doing so, going purple in the middle sector as well, so possibly could be looking to better his last lap. So just getting quicker and quicker as the race goes on. Again, oh, Dastardly's in, the leader is in, followed by Apoplex and P2. Where are they going to come out compared to Sega? Surely it's going to be close on the exit for the Mercedes and the Ferrari, but the Williams, logically, surely should clear them.
Yeah, we'll right on board with Sega cause just to see.
Dastardly's just leaving the pits now to a fresh set of softs. As they're only just going under the track now, yeah. He has.
Sega cause is going to take the race lead.
It's possible.
Old Dad's as well, and Prev. Very close on exit, and the Ferrari just getting out in front of the Racing Point there. That was important. He would have wanted to get out in front, get that clean track, so that he could just see the one target he needs to chase now, on the quicker compound as well.
Apoplex looks like he was really held up in that pit stop then. Because he came out behind Dastardly, but he's actually now in fifth, whereas Dastardly's in second. Which I know it might only be a couple seconds there, but he's definitely lost out on that occasion.
He's coming out behind another battle that's happening on track with two cars that are on a different strategy effectively. So again, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who comes out where. The different life and tyres here.
No, but
this is again the biggest gainer so far.
This is what Sega will need. Sega will need Dastardly, Old Dad's, Prev and Apoplex all to be battling it out for that second place, while Sega can just run away without any battles. With his extra downforce, he's got the pace. We know he's got the pace because he's qualified second in this race. But he just needs the others to hold each other up and for him to just concentrate on getting them lap times in.
And I think he might get his wish as well, even though there's about 2 lap difference in the tyres between Old Dad's and Dastardly. But I think now Old Dad's can see the back of that car. He's really going to have the bit between his teeth now to get him back up in front on track position. And bring himself, like I say, back into this race to show back to where he started, alongside these guys.
Well, with that delta, he's probably going to benefit from a little bit of slipstream if he can just get directly behind that Ferrari. But the Ferrari is not holding up. He is closing that gap to Sega.
Apoplex closing in on Prev, though. Looks like he'll be the only one in this foursome with any DRS assistance.
Dastardly, as we know, has got the straight line speed, carrying a purple sector, which is no surprise with his first outing on this soft tyres.
Interesting to note as well that Mikey, even on the older tyres, is still keeping up. Well, I say keeping up with his team, but the gap is still under 2 seconds. It keeps fluctuating between 1.5 to 2. So he's still maintaining a consistent lap time to keep his tyres going and just prolong this stint. Maybe trying something different. Maybe going on to the softs in the second half.
This race is really beginning to come alive as Prev and Appleplex both in DRS range, and Dastardly also now right on the tail of Sega to Cos. Got a comment on my stream from Bannister. Damn it. Dast for the win, he says.
I was going to say that Williams is going to have to be about 10 foot wide if he wants to keep his Ferrari behind him. Again, he's not going to need a second invite on those softs. He's going to get one sniff and he's just going to have to send it.
Yeah, as you say, Dastardly will take the opportunity if it is given to him as he takes the fastest lap and is within 2 tenths, but we also have Appleplex right on the back of Prev, so we are going to have to try and split our eyes just to watch both of these battles as they develop.
There's a slight lift from Dastardly as well, coming over turn 3 where Bannister lost it. Maybe the dirty air's affecting them going around there. Normally that is flat, so I wonder how long he's going to have to stick behind that Williams before he does make the move. But surely he's going to get here down into turn 8. The straight line speed, the fresh rubber with DRS and straight on the overtake button. What does that Williams have to defend? It's not looking like much, unfortunately, and Dastardly straight down the inside, and that is into P1 as they go down into the braking zone. Is he going to hold it? And the position is his.
Appleplex also taking Prev on that first DRS straight. But we swing back to Sega. Is Sega going to be able to reply to Dastardly's first overtake with DRS assistance? No, he is too far back, coming down into the end of Sector 2. But Prev is also looking to reply to Appleplex, but same story again, just doesn't have that straight line speed coming down that second DRS straight.
I think Sega has to realise who he's racing in the race compared to who he's racing right now. If he pushes too much, he's got to realise he might take too much out of his tyres to try and keep up with a car that is just, at this stage, quicker than him. Just keep the lap times consistent, another pit stop to go. Could bring it back in his favour.
Yeah, Dastardly having to go onto the slower tyre after this stop, or if he could always choose another set of softs again after there, but then he will be forcing himself into a definite 3-stop. Whereas Sega has got more options available to him now because he's done the soft tyres, he's now on the medium, so he has got the full options of which tyres would suit his strategy at the time he chooses to call it.
And I just want to give a quick shout out here to someone who's not had much mention, but you know, he's keeping it clean, he's still going, he's enjoying his evening in Dubai. That is a letdown estate in this Ferrari. He's on his mediums, he's just doing his own thing. I think he's just enjoying his race this evening, having his own bit of fun.
Appleplex looking to make another move, as he is right on the back of the Racing Point of Old Dads, and now he's alongside and ahead. As they come into the chicane, he's got the move done up into third, but Old Dads is gonna fight it back here down the second DRS straight. He's gotten a great exit, and he might be coming back at Appleplex here. Switches to the inside, and they're gonna go side by side into this next chicane. Old Dads is back through.
He did cut the corner there, so he has been awarded a 3-second penalty for that.
Got the track position, but at what cost?
Appleplex looking very lively on these fresh soft tires. He's right on the gearbox of Old Dads, looking at him move into the final corner, but just thought better of it. That's not a place you normally see overtaking. See the car out in front, Dastardly extending that gap and setting the fastest lap of the race in that clear air.
Yeah, now down into the 129s.
As well. So there's a couple penalties starting to rear their heads now. These drivers are getting a few warnings, trying to push to see what they can do to keep up with the guys around them.
Now Appleplex will have another go with DRS down this first straight. Last lap, he got the move done into turn 8, but then Old Dad's got him back into turn 11. So what will happen this time around? DRS for the Mercedes. He's just banking some overtake. He is closing the gap on the racing point, and he switches to the inside and just backs out. And I think he's learned from last lap that he wants to get the move done into turn 11.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing there.
I think Old Dad's knew a very similar thing as well, because I see he did turn off his overtake halfway down that first straight as well, maybe trying to save it for
Here comes Appleplex round the outside. They're wheel to wheel into turn 11. Old Dad's down the inside, is through and keeps third.
Yeah, I think there was a tiny bit of wheel banging contact there, but nothing too serious. So this is really bringing some excitement to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix for our season finale.
I think Appleplex must be thinking what has gone wrong here though for him this evening, as he's well now 7, nearly 8 seconds behind Dastardly when he pit alongside him.
He did.
Getting caught up in this little battle with the Racing Point and the Red Bull, as fun as it is for us to watch, he must be getting frustrated being sat behind that pink car.
Well, that's it. There's the difference between 5 tenths and a second. It's just where he came out on track, put him into 5th place behind traffic, but Dastardly had a little bit of clear air, so he was able to chase down Sega, and now Dastardly edging towards being 4 seconds ahead of the Williams car.
Mikey's in for his second stop, onto another set of mediums as well. Could we be seeing then another stretch on these and then a stint on the end on the softs for our championship winner?
I think that's what he'll be going for. As we see again, Old Dad's closing the gap into turn 8, but not pushing too hard down the first DRS straight, but I have to imagine he'll be pushing hard down the second. He's not using his overtake for the time being. Old Dad's is going to keep third once again.
I think if Appleplex pushes too hard and keeps trying and they just keep repeating the same dance over and over again, I think he's just realising that he's going to just use up his tyres quicker than he needs to. If he bides his time and saves the battery or saves a bit of fuel, he knows he can get the move done. He has the extra grip, the extra laps under his belt. He just needs to be patient.
He is struggling a little bit with some dirty air in this third sector though. A little lock up and a little loss of traction. But all in all, doing well to stay this close to the Racing Point.
I think Racing Point are a little bit familiar with cars following behind in their tow.
Yeah, normally it's a Red Bull though, not a Mercedes.
It's a trick that I used to do with All Shut Down quite a lot. Is I'd stay behind for about 4 laps, saving me battery, just as it looks like Appleplex is doing now.
Oh, and here comes Appleplex round the outside at the hairpin. He's wasting no time. He saw a gap and he took it. He's in front as they come on to the first DRS straight, and he's got DRS to run away from Old Dad's here.
That's phenomenal straight line speed from Appleplex.
He is flying.
Just that bit of patience, that one lap where he didn't try to send it. And now he's got that
Massive
clear air
lock-up
that he can now build on.
And
Didn't
Old
get a
Dad's
very
with
good-
a much better exit. Will be coming back at him here. He's not using his overtake. Now he is. But it might be too late. He's running out of straight. He's sending it round the outside anyway. Can he stay alongside? No. Appleplex closes the door.
Squeezed right on the apex. Yeah. Just to touch back on that earlier comment as well, Bloom, it wasn't exactly 4 laps. I think it was around about 35, wasn't it, around China? But yeah, I can't look in a rear view mirror now in any vehicle without thinking there's a Red Bull behind me.
So then Appleplex finally getting back up into the podium places. But Old Dad's is not going anywhere. He's within 3 tenths as they come on to lap 23.
I mean, as much as it's kind of stunted Appleplex's race, considering he was battling for the lead nearly at one point, providing great entertainment for us, and you know, it's great to see this racing. Unfortunately, where there have been incidents and everyone has spread out, these two guys are providing all the entertainment we need lap after lap.
Yeah, and Old Dad's able to stay within DRS range just as they come onto the first of 2 DRS straights. Old Dads will need to get that delta down though if he wants to get DRS down the second straight. He's just over a second.
Just to add on that as well, you see the difference in battery deployment. Appleplex has sat down around the 20% on his overtake, and Old Dad's very conservative, sat up in about 76. So gets a little bit more greedy on that overtake button, it could definitely help him.
Appleplex always seems to struggle on that middle chicane between the DRSs as well, so it's something that I think Old Dad's has maybe noticed, because he's not letting off Appleplex at that point.
It is quite a challenging set of corners though, that chicane, especially like I say.
Right. Turn 17.
The elevation, you put your foot down too early, you can break all traction and you can lose a lot of time. So rightly so, if Old Dad's has noticed that and he's getting the better drive, it's going to be keeping him within that shot.
Yeah, very wide from Appleplex there. He seems to be feeling the pressure from the racing point behind. But I must say, Dastardly 5 seconds out in front now, but Sega is doing really well to only be 5 seconds behind on the medium tyres, because there's about 7/10 deficit, as Matt said earlier, between the mediums and the softs. Now Dastardly's probably been in front more than 5 laps, so to still be within 5 laps on the harder compound is quite a good thing, because when it comes to the pit stops and then Dastardly's on the mediums and Sega's on the softs, that deficit is going to be swapped around the other way.
Oh, Dad's getting right on the back of the Mercedes there. And he is quick on the overtake button. He's got so much saved up, and he is flying past the Mercedes. There will be no battling into turn 11 this time around, as Old Dad's is clear and back up into third.
Appleplex struggling on that chicane, which is what won Old Dad's that battle.
The next round of stops are just going to really be what I'm looking forward to personally, just on the basis of a letdown of state. 21 laps on that set of mediums. He's clearly pushing for that, just the 2 stop onto another set to take it to the end. He's now under 10 seconds behind CHM. And Mikey's now closing back on his a fresh set of rubber as well. So even the guys at the back here are still within a chance of getting into, you know, squabbling for that top 5 position.
In
10 laps on a set of softs. Yeah.
Although he
Prev
pitted
in as well. I think they will be going for a 3-stop at this point. It depends. I think they're putting on another set of softs.
He is, yeah.
So a 3-stop strategy for Old Dads. Prev
on a set of
however,
mediums.
going to the mediums. But he'll have to really stretch him if he wants to take him to the end. He might just be going for the 3-stop, but the other way around, going medium and then soft for the final stint.
Close on the exit here between Old Dads and CHM as well. As they come down into the chicane of the first sector, he's going to want to clear that Renault quickly if he wants to make the strategy work.
Yeah, CHM was very strong on his racing line, and he was not letting Old Dad's pass on the right hand side as they came out the pit exit there. But as you say, Old Dad's with a full tank of battery. He's got DRS and battery on, but he's struggling to close the gap to CHM.
Yeah, we know CHM has tremendous straight line speed, but this is where Old Dads was able to take advantage of Appleplex as he gets a great exit out of the chicane and is already alongside the Renault and ahead.
He knew exactly what he was doing there. As previously mentioned, that chicane, Old Dad seems to boss that just because he knows Appleplex's weakness is that chicane.
And the fight I'm looking forward to that's kind of brewing here at the moment, Mikey 2.2 behind a letdown estate. Like I say, that fresh rubber really making the difference. And a letdown now, only 5 seconds behind Prev after pitting, but only 6 seconds behind CHM, who again made, so they are slowly bringing them all selves back to each other. So he's doing a great job with keeping those tyres going on that Ferrari. especially for the 22 laps he's had them on.
Yeah, it was such a shame to see the few cars sort of knocked off at the start, because through the qualifying session, as Mikey says, the fastest lap, through the qualifying session we've seen the cars separated by 5/10, 8 of the cars, so we know that there should have been some long close battle in here, but that incident at the start sort of spread the field out, which, as Allshot is just sort of saying now, that they're developing, and it's looking like we're going to be having a few more battles, as just Mikey will have DRS on a letdown of state.
He's going to make quick work of that Ferrari. The difference in grip is going to be substantial. The Ferrari can just try and stick with him, maybe a bit of a toe help his lap times, but he's committing to his strategy, and fair play, he just needs to know not to fight too hard. The Renault's not his fight right now. It could be come the end of the race.
Yeah, Mikey wasting no time getting that done, and don't think a letdown of state will be able to challenge. He'll just pick up a bit of free DRS as Mikey still in front, but not challenging into turn 11. Letdown of state, you see the difference in grip.
Someone down in the Ferrari box heard your comments earlier as well. Dastardly now up to nearly 7 seconds ahead of Sega. So he's got on a move on the latter half of his stint as well, so we could be seeing the Ferrari man pitting in the coming laps.
Now Prev on fresh rubber, fresh mediums, behind a man on 15-lap-old mediums. CHM and the Renault just in front.
Closing very quickly, the fellow Renault, so if the Red Bull doesn't clear CHM quick enough, he could be caught in a little sandwich.
Yeah, there's a big difference in grip, as we could see through that first sector. Prev just had to back off a little bit to avoid coming into the back of CHM, but we know CHM has phenomenal straight line speed, but Prev has plenty of overtake to work with, and he's closing quickly as they come down the first DRS straight into turn 8. Prev has got the move done and is up into 5th.
Someone just to touch on here as well, who's bringing their race back into what it was before. Apoplex 5.5 behind Sega. Now he's got into that clear air. He is on 10 lap old softs, but he's starting to show that he's still got the pace in that Mercedes, no matter the wear. So he's going to bring himself back into this, and it's definitely going to be worth to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, he does have the pace. I think he went quite deep onto his first set of softs, so we could still see him on them tyres for another 5 or 8 laps, depending how the rest of his strategy wants to be played out. But he has gone soft, I believe, so he does need to put on a set of mediums at some point, which we're getting near the point where they'll be able to put them on and take them to the end, as Old Dad's on some fresh soft sets, a 139.2 for the fastest lap.
Only 2 drivers currently running that actually, well, 3 even, I beg your pardon, still need to run the harder compound. So our race leader Dastardly, then you go back down to the Mercedes with Apoplex, and then the driver behind him on track, Old Dad's in the Racing Point. Everyone else has run the harder compound, so they've got the quicker tyres to play with for the second part.
Letdown estate in the pits for a fresh set of mediums. He'll probably be looking to take them somewhere near the end of the race, if not the end. But unfortunately he picked up a 5-second penalty as he came into the pits for speeding.
A man after my own heart.
So really not the race that Letdown Estate was looking for with the early stop, which has really changed his strategy. But yeah, we'll see how he can finish this race on that set of mediums.
And we got Sega is coming into the pits, nearly running into the wall and getting a 3-second time penalty in doing so.
No, that was Apoplex.
Just ran over the white line. Oh, was it Apoplex? My apologies. Sorry, I'm getting caught up here. But Yeah, a little bit too late on the brakes there and nearly ended up going into the pit wall itself.
Yeah, Appleplex now on 9 seconds of penalties, so that will likely affect where he finishes in this Grand Prix.
Sega slapping on a fresh set of rubber, a brand new set of softs. So this is where he can start pumping out the lap time to try and make that deficit back and start making these other guys think about what they need to do. You race leader Dastardly on 12 lap old tyres, same with Appleplex. This is going to be a close one.
Sega cementing his strategy there because he probably won't take them tyres to the end, so he's going to be looking at another stop.
He's going to need to replicate his qualifying stint a couple times over.
And we have just Mikey right on the back of his teammate CHM. This time they are the other way around for where they swapped earlier, where CHM had fresher rubber, but now Mikey has fresher rubber. Overtake and DRS assistance down the first DRS straight, but he doesn't have his overtake on. And no, they're just carrying on as they are for now.
I say CHM did use the overtake, so maybe a little bit of a defence there to try and hold track position. I didn't know if he was going to repay the favour, or he might do coming down here. Not quite. He looks like he's going to have to make Mikey work for it. He swings to the outside, coming down to the heavy braking zone, the fresher rubber, and he just runs off track. Going to have to is he handing the position back? No, to be fair, he was going in the head into the braking zone, so the corner was his. I think he just outbroke himself a little bit too much.
I think CHM squeezed him quite a bit, to be fair, so there was probably not a full car's width on the outside of CHM after he began to close the door. So
yeah, I think they both decided that without talking to each other, because it looked like CHM also conceded going into the braking zone a bit. So
yeah,
I think they'd both made their minds up of who was going to come out in front out of that little encounter.
Yeah,
so I'm glad they both have thought on the same account.
Probably just didn't go how they planned to do the execution.
Sega closing up now to the back of old Dad's 2.3 seconds now. It's the gap 1.9 heading into the hairpin. So the fresh rubber, only 4 laps difference, but the delta really is making that difference. Can the Williams get onto the back of the racing point? And well, as we saw old Dad's earlier fighting with the Red Bull, is he going to be just as hard to get past? Is he going to put more of a fight? Sega's going to need this quick and clean if he wants that hope of getting, well, correct me if I'm wrong here, if I'm getting the wrong driver in mind here, but his first win, did you not mention earlier?
Yes. Old Dad's had his first win last race. So Sega will be looking to take the position and try and take the race win, as Old Dad's picks up another 3-second penalty. So as it stands, I believe Appleplex is on 9 seconds, Old Dad's is on 6, Sega is on 3 for penalties, and Letdown Estate also has 5 seconds. So Appleplex is going to be hurt by them come the end of the race, because Old Dad's currently is about 9 seconds behind. So if the race was to finish as it stood, Old Dad's will be ahead of Appleplex.
As the saying goes, stop the clock.
Well, Sega doesn't want you to stop the clocks. He's just got the fastest lap, and he is now in 6/10 of Old Dad. So it's looking like if he was going to get a chance for a move, it would be on this lap.
Already he's back within that within the window of second place. If there was to be the stop here, he'd be coming out alongside, Appleplex would come out alongside Sega. So these are the laps where Sega's making it count. He needs to just keep reeling it in a couple seconds more, and he could be back into the lead, depending on when Dastardly and Appleplex decide to pull the trigger. But he makes the move on the racing point, down into the heavy braking zone again, the fresher rubber, and the move is done. Can Old Dadso get the drive that he keeps getting out of this middle chicane as they come down into the end of the second sector? He's going to beg your pardon, into turns 11, 12 and 13, and I believe the William driver looks like he's done it. Oh no, the racing point has come back late on the brakes. They're going to go side by side into turn 11, and he just gets the car into the apex, and he stamps his authority that he's not giving away that position just yet. He has a point to prove. He wants that P3.
We know that the Williams car does suffer with high downforce, and Old Dad's is lightning out of that chicane, but Williams is coming back on to the racing point car. This is not a fight that they want to give up easy.
Yeah, Sega had a good run coming down into turn 17, but it's such a difficult corner to make a move through, as there's just not any space to work with, and he had to bail out. But he is definitely quicker through that third sector.
Just to channel a bit of Eddie Jordan there, these guys need to stop squabbling and actually start helping each other. They could be catching the top two, they're on the fresher rubber. But, you know, they can pick the fights they want to pick, we're not here to judge.
Yeah, as you know yourself, any race car driver doesn't want to make alliances on track. That typically they want to be taking positions, as the Williams car is having a look around the outside of old Dad's, and he's already ahead. He's going to have DRS assistance because we know he suffers with the straight line speed, but the straight line speed of the force injury is that powerful, he's pulled ahead.
He's going to get a second bite of the cherry though as they go down the braking zone again. The fresh rubber is definitely going to give him the advantage.
Old Dad's just trying to set up a good exit here out of the chicane, as he's done so many times before. Bit late on the overtake button, leaving it late. Is he going to go for a move? He can't this time around, just a bit too far back. And that is Sega Takaz into third.
This is where Sega needs to use that extra downforce that he's carrying to try and get through Sector 3 as fast as he can and get outside of that DRS range of the attacking Force Indy behind. Or Racing Point, should I say.
Getting some very strong Fernando Alonso vibes there as he was trying to chase the championship when he got stuck behind Mark Webber, or maybe it was the other way around. You know, Sega trying to chase his first race win here, and the other driver in real life was trying to chase the championship. Got caught up with a midfield battle that he didn't need to be involved in, and unfortunately it cost him.
And Appleplex is
Appleplex going onto a set of mediums, so that will be his final pit stop.
Sega's now within a pit stop on Dastardly as well, so he could still end up at the clear track.
Old Dad's
he just makes the most of this stint.
Old Dad's got very loose there around turn 3. Had to back off to regain control of the car, which is going to drop him outside of DRS.
Close on the exit as well for Mikey and Appleplex there. The Mercedes driver nearly dropping position to the Renault. Though, if Mikey can stick with him, it could really cause a bit more disruption for these top three that have been running so well.
I think Mikey's going to get DRS here. He was
straight on the overtake
through the detection zone, and we know Mikey was victim of an unfortunate incident on lap 1, but he has the pace to challenge anybody in this league. He closes the gap as they come into the chicane.
It's still with DRS down the seconds. DRS straight. Struggling to stay with the Mercedes of Appleplex. But Appleplex benefiting from 11 lap fresher rubber.
Watching a bit of on board with our race leader, and 17 lap old softs, you can see he's starting to feel it, getting a little bit loose on a couple of the exits, so it must be a matter of time before he does decide to pit. And, well, I'm surely go on to another, set of mediums, isn't it, to take him to the end of the race?
Yeah, that would be a wise strategy, I believe. It doesn't look to be like there's going to be much risk of any safety car come this point of the race.
I mean, that would definitely spice it up, though, wouldn't it?
It would. But as the race is petering out again, maybe soon we could get a replay of the on-board that Allshot gave during the qualifying session, as the letdown estate picks up another 3-second penalty. I think we'll have to wait and see if our race leader comes in to the pit or if he stays out. If he comes in, there's a Sega Takaz will inherit the race lead at that point, and it's every chance that Old Dads will be having a look to take the position from Dastardly also.
That's what the Williams driver's going to be wanting as well, for that Ferrari to come out. And as we say that, Dastardly is in, our race leader is in from, into the pits for his, what is going to be, hopefully, his final stop.
Set of mediums for Dastardly, so he will be taking those to the end. Similar strategy to Appleplex. As Segatakals comes towards turn 1,
It'll be interesting to see what that racing point is.
Inherit the race lead for the time being. Old Dad's momentarily up into second, but Dastardly coming out of the pits right behind the racing point.
Yeah, Dastardly will immediately have DRS assistance to try and get past Old Dad's.
Dastardly quick on the overtake button, looking to get this move done and not waste any time battling.
Old Dad seemed to move early to the inside there, as if he knew that it wasn't a fight that he was going to win.
Oh, we've seen Old Dad's come back at cars on this second DRS straight, and he looks to be trying to come back at Dastardly here. He's quick on the overtake button, he's closing the gap, having a look at the outside, and they're wheel to wheel into turn 11, but Dastardly's able to stay in front.
Yeah, Dastardly
Great driving from these two.
taking the position there in the end. Can Old Dad's hang on to that DRS activation range whilst we come round the final part of the lap?
So another battle that's forming up as well at the moment. We've got P4, 5 and 6 here, all getting very close on track. Prev, Appleplex and Mikey. All different tyre life definitely here, but they're all coming together very close on track.
And Old Dad's
Old Dad's coming in. He has yet to use set of mediums, so now is the time for that 3-stop strategy to jump onto the set of the mediums. And I do wonder if the 3-stop was the right call.
I think with what happened at the beginning of the race, it was probably the best chance he had to try and claw himself back. He had to do that aggressive strategy on the quicker tyre just to negate the time that he lost. So it has lost him now, but he's going to be on the fresher set of tyres, and there are still cars around him that are going to probably, well, going to be on that much older tyres, or are going to have to pit again.
You know, Mikey is likely to pit again, but aside from that, Fred might pit again.
Sega, yeah, Sega will have to pit again.
Sega will also have to pit again.
And unbelievably, Dastardly's actually taken 2/10 out of the Williams driver on this lap alone, and even more going into the final sector. So there is nothing stopping this Ferrari this evening. Can only imagine what would have been if we still had both Mercedes running.
Well, speaking of Mercedes, Appleplex is right on the gearbox of Prev. He's almost looking like he's going to be trying to make a move around Sector 3. Slightly fresher rubber on the Mercedes car. He's going to be playing to his advantage, and it looks like Prev is going deep there. Probably feeling the pressure from the Mercedes attacking from behind.
Just a small little victory here. Let down a state, doing the 2-stop on the medium, stretching them out, and he's actually gained a position on CHM. So they're both running to the end, and he's actually made the position out of it. It is only one position.
Appleplex making a move. That was turn 3. That was brilliant.
A crazy move. Prev almost off track as Appleplex went up the inside.
It's hard to keep track of all the little dots what they're doing.
Can Prev fight it back? He'll have DRS to close the gap, but Appleplex already nearly a second out in front of him. Don't think Prev will be able to fight this too much. He'll go get DRS once again, but once they come into this third sector, it's likely we'll see Appleplex pull away on those much fresher mediums.
Yeah, That overtake from Appleplex was that strong it would intimidate any experienced driver to feel like, do I really want to be trying to claim that position back, because Appleplex took that strong.
Yeah.
Just to note as well, old Dad's purple in the middle sector. Right, as I say that, as well, Dastardly really showing his dominance here this evening, down to 1.6 on Sega.
Yeah, also getting fastest lap.
And Mikey's in. Mikey going for his final stint. That's just released old Dad in the racing point, who comes across the line, and there we are. The purple sec's add up, and he's just showing he's not down and out just yet. He wants to fight. He wants that, possible top 3 that could effectively still happen.
Just Mikey going for a set of softs, so he will be looking to take fastest lap. Dastardly gaining on Sega Takaza, as you say. Maybe not close enough on this occasion, but he's certainly doing the damage to the Delta that's going to win him the position later in this race.
Yep, and Sega Takaza will have needed to extend his lead with these soft tires, because he's going to have to pit again, but going the other way around, Dastardly not wasting any time, cutting this gap down. If Dastardly can get in front while being on the slower tire, he will be in a great position to take this race win.
Yeah, Dastardly
spent all this time talking about Delta. Sorry.
Go on.
No, I was just going to say, we spent all this time talking about Delta, and it's like Dastardly's just gone, I don't care, I'm just going to drive faster.
Yeah, Dastardly has really shown his dominance here. He's sort of, other than the first lap incident, he's really shown us a class drive, and he's just built his gap. I almost feel sad that I've not given him as much airtime, because he's really showing us some pace at Abu Dhabi.
I mean, he was a tough opponent to race against, but just watching it now, you can see why. He's consistent, he is fast.
He's closing right on the back of Sega Takaza, pulling to the inside as they come towards turn 8. Now then, can Sega Takaza fight back down the second DRS straight? He's got a lot of overtakes saved up, and he's opting not to use it. And Dastardly is pulling away a little bit as they come down towards turn 11. Dastardly will keep the race lead.
Sega's going to have to start thinking about something different here, because he's just about to fall out of the pit window on old Dad. He's actually, there's 19-second gap, just 20-second gap now between second and 5th. This second stint, he could come out with some heavy traffic on slower tyres that could definitely hinder him.
Yeah, I think we saw Wednesday that the medium tires turned out to be the best race tire, and we're seeing that again here today. Sega not enjoying these softs, getting overtaken and losing time for the medium runners.
Yeah, although there's supposed to be a 7/10 deficit, I remember putting the mediums on and feeling really racy on them.
Yeah, there's very quick degradation on those softs, as they are the softest tires that Pirelli offer in Formula 1. They have the lowest lifespan of any tire that we see in Formula 1.
Never had the privilege to run the mediums myself, so I'll just have to take your guys' words for it.
Didn't go past your 14-lap strategy.
No, not in 2 attempts, no.
Meanwhile, Old Dad's is closing in on Prev on his fresh mediums. He will look to have DRS on this lap. Sega Takaza's doing well to stick close to the back of Dastardly.
Making the most of that DRS.
Yeah.
Definitely is to keep him there.
See if Old Dads can use the chicane like he has so many times, but he's got it wrong that time, and Rev is pulled away down the second DRS straight. Not a good exit from Old Dads there.
So, a quick review of the penalty situation. As you said, oh,
Dad's
no.
going for it. What a move from Old Dad's into turn 17. He's got the move done. That is incredible from Old Dad's rule.
Unbelievable driving also from Prev to respond to the car on the attack in a place where you wouldn't normally see an overtake.
Yeah, great driving from both drivers there. Old Dad's will get his head down to try to close the gap to Appleplex in front.
But as you said about Sega being within the pit window of Old Dad's, is probably within the pit window of Prev also. But the two cars currently behind Sega have both got 9 seconds of penalties, so that will play into Sega's advantage.
Not just Sega's, even if you take into account Prev, but Prev, he must be stretching those mediums to the end now, but he's well within a shot here for P2.
He is, he definitely is. I mean, everybody behind him at that point, other than CHM, was involved in that first lap incident. So Mikey and a letdown estate both had to pit lap 1. So with the exception of CHM, Prev, as you say, looking strong for a podium here, having not picked up any penalties.
And he's started last on the grid as well, so he's definitely going to have the best race out of the lot here so far for positions gained.
But just to repeat something Matt said earlier, I think, Sega really doing well to stay on the back of Dastardly. Look, he's only just now looking like he's outside of DRS range. And Dastardly just carrying Sega around the track in his slipstream. So we must be looking at a pit from Sega soon, because he will be on his tyres for as long as we have the race left. Meaning it probably wouldn't benefit him to go any further on his current set of tyres. He might as well do it on a fresh set, if he is going to pit.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he does, the pit is definitely going to drop him alongside Prev. He's going to have his hands full with Old Dad's Appleplex and Prev as well once he does. He's going to be on the fresh rubber, which is going to be great to watch. But I can't imagine he can take those softs to the end.
No, we know he's struggling with the straight line speed.
He would be pushing it right to the limit if he took those softs to the end, but it's his track position is where he wants to finish, and don't know if he'll feel that confident about overtaking 3 cars if he pits and comes out in 5th.
No, as we say, his straight line speed is probably a bit too weak to get the overtake done, even on the fresher tyres. I mean, he will have a better chance than earlier, but...
If he has used the mediums, they get to cause, yeah?
No,
he does. He's used them.
He's them already.
He's second stint. He's got another... It looked like he was going for it.
He's already used them. So he could stay out.
Yes, he could stay out.
And I think if I were him, I'd be thinking about that right now, because the penalty situation along with the track position, he's where he wants to be for the time being, and the gap isn't closing quickly to Appleplex at all, so maybe staying out could be the best way to keep himself second.
It's going to be risk versus reward though, because at a certain tyre wear, at a certain point, with the wear on these tyres, as you guys well know as well, there is a point where you could touch a curb and it could puncture, and round here it's a long lap with a flat tyre.
You said that he was possibly at risk from being in the pit window with Prev. I think he's clear now.
He has now cleared it, yes. I don't know if Prev's had a moment, but he's now cleared it. Old Dad's and Appleplex Old Dad's is clawing in Appleplex here for P3. So he clearly wants that top 3 after everything that's happened this evening. But yeah, these guys are definitely starting to find their pace, and they're just settling into their own little grooves now. And he's in. Sega is in, and again, running very deep into the pit entry. He did that earlier. Luckily, he's not going to have to make another pit stop if everything goes to plan, but this is where they need to get it right, and this is where he needs to be on point at the right point. He can clear these cars, he'll have the pace, even with the DRS. He may lack that down straight line speed, but the downforce he's got to carry around that final sector could even possibly see the fastest lap as well awarded to him if he gets it right.
I think if Sega looks back at this, he may have wanted to pit a couple laps earlier, because the delta between himself and Old Dad's, I think, is bigger than it would have been had he pit a couple laps ago and got himself on the fresh softs.
Yeah,
Instead of staying
on
on
14. Well.
14.
He's right on the back of Appleplex, going down the first DRS zone, and he's moved to the left. He's going to make the move for P2 now, as they head down into the braking zone, and he's just taken the position before the corner.
Oh,
and
but
he's come back at him.
coming back.
These guys know that this is for position, both on the same amount of penalties. Do correct me if I'm wrong there, but this is for P2.
It is.
And this battle has helped Sega cut the delta by nearly a second in just half a lap.
But with the penalty situation, if Sega stays within 6 seconds of Old Dad's, then he will inherit the position.
He doesn't have to try anything too risky. He can just sit with them, and he knows he'll get it at the end of the race.
Well, on the fresh, soft tyres, he's going to catch them, I believe, in the next lap or two. Especially if Old Dad's and Appleplex continue battling. But Old Dad's looks to have pulled a small gap on Appleplex already.
Yeah. Showing great pace, Old Dad's pulling away. Appleplex will have Sega to deal with.
Yep.
Old Dad's will just be trying to get his head down and get as much of a buffer as he can, because he knows that Sega is coming on those fresh softs.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, Sega had a purple sector 3 and now has a purple sector 1, so he is rapid on this fresh set of red tyres. I mean, I do think Sega might have the opportunity, seeing how much pace he has on this fresh set of tyres, he might have the opportunity to retake second place on track.
Yep, certainly looks that way with 10.5 laps to go.
He needs to save some of that overtake though for when he's actually getting the job done.
He's going to catch these cars in sectors 1 and 3 without using any fuel or overtake. He's just got to save the juice for when he needs it on the straights.
Yeah, not only for the overtake, but also for defending on the re-attack on the second DRS straight, should he take them on the first. But Appleplex not looking very handy on that racing line, going very deep in this final sector.
You see the difference in grip, riding on board with Sega. Got a lot more confidence in the car through that third sector.
Yeah, but as we say, we think he might have the extra downforce, which would benefit him in that third sector also.
I mean, if you don't take the penalties into account, just for argument's sake, Old Dad's is going to be wanting this to give himself some breathing room so he can try and get away. He's going to want Appleplex to try and put up a fight, so he's not going to have to worry about this Williams being all over the back of him. And he's gone for it
sending it
off
up
the
the inside. Wasting no time there. He's gonna have DRS to run away from the Mercedes down the first straightaway.
But with DRS, that Mercedes is staying in the shadow of the Williams.
Now Appleplex will get DRS down the second straight. Sega, with so much grip, was so much quicker through the middle chicane.
Yeah, we
He
know
took about
Appleplex.
half a second out of Old Dad's there, just on that one corner.
We know that Appleplex doesn't like that.
Yep. Appleplex not able to come back at Sega, and Sega will turn his attention to the racing point in front. Just 2 seconds in it between Old Dad's and Sega Takals.
gap on track as well that is slowly coming down, which may come to blows at the end of the race, possibly on the last lap, is Mikey and Prev. Mikey's on the fresh set of softs, catching Prev on 20 lap old mediums. So he's definitely hunting down and he wants that top 5 finish.
Sega trying to catch old Dad's, going very deep in the exit of turn 1. He doesn't want to do that too often, otherwise he will be earning himself more penalties. At the moment he's got the penalty advantage compared to the driver in front and behind. And Sega without DRS on this occasion, but he's got the slipstream, so he is trying to attack that delta between him and old Dad's.
Just touching back on the Mikey Prev scenario, he's taken a second out of him in nearly just under a lap. So he is closing down on that Red Bull for the top 5 position. And in regards to, well, second, third and fourth, Mbappé can keep it like he's doing just out of a 2-second window. But if he can stay with them, these guys squabble enough. We've seen how hard old Dad is racing for this position. He wants to have it on track clearly by merit. But if he squabbles too much, Apoplex could be there with him.
Yeah, Sega doing a real class job now. Is managed to overtake the Mercedes of Apoplex, and he's firmly got old Dad's in his sights now.
That's a sentence I never thought I'd hear you say.
That's worrying. I don't want to know what sentence you expect me to say. Anyway, back to racing. Sega will have DRS assistance on this first DRS straight, and he's much closer to the back of the racing point. And he's having a look.
Gonna send it round the outside into the chicane. He's got so much grip just to dance around the racing point. And he's taken P2. Now, will old Dad's come back at Sega? On the second DRS straight, he's closing quick and goes to the inside. Sega Takaz has to yield into turn 11. Old Dad's takes P2 back.
Yeah, great driving from both of these. Old Dad's, we know that he can get a good exit out of that chicane, but Sega almost looked like he was trying to do a move we've seen earlier.
Oh, he's right alongside. Nearly coming together there. As we see Sega just with so much more grip in this third sector.
If he gets any closer going through that third sector, he's going to be pushing that racing point around. He's got to be careful, especially with the dirty air as well. He doesn't want to outbrake himself.
Some people are used to pushing around a racing point. You just see a window and you just got to go for it. Will Sega have better luck this time?
We'll get DRS once again. The gap is just over half a second as they come into the first DRS zone.
He's not using his overtake this time.
Just banking that overtake. I think he's going to wait for the second DRS straight and then give it the beans as they come towards turn 11. Old Dad's getting a little loose in the middle chicane. Sega on the overtake really early. He's closing the gap to the racing point. He's going to have a go round the outside, it looks like. But he can't quite make it stick as old Dad's is back up into second once again.
We've seen so many drivers this evening attempt that outside pass go into that sequence of corners. Unfortunately, it just hasn't worked for any of them so far.
I think it did work for one. I can't remember who. I think I did see it work for one.
Okay, well, it worked for one or two, but the rest it hasn't worked so far.
But most drivers know to cover that inside line, so...
If you can whip the car around the outside at turn 11, it does turn into the inside line for the next corner, but it can be so difficult to leave the space on the inside at turn 11 and get the car wrapped around the apex and get ready for the next corner. I think that's where some of our drivers have been struggling going around the
Just
outside.
Before those two go at it again as well onto that back straight, Mikey's now within DRS of Prev as well, so we could see two little battles happening this lap.
Oh, and Sega's sending it again! It's where he took Appleplex, and he's taking old dads as they come into the first DRS zone. And Mikey's gotten a move done as well.
I love that little move from Sega. He's done it before, and he's done it again. Overtaking on turn 7. It's not something that you normally see, but can he defend now down this second DRS straight? He looks to have
him away through the chicane. Old Dad's not going to have a chance this time around. Sega Takaz is clear into second place.
Mikey has cleared Prev already in the state of that one straight, so both drivers making the move stick. I don't think Old Dad's going to give up just that easily though.
Old Dad's showing some pace around Sector 3, where we know that Sega's normally quite strong. Is just dropping outside of the DRS range now, so can Sega build that gap to make sure that Old Dad's doesn't have DRS down Sector 2? Old Dad's just coming round now, where on the Wednesday race I came off and unfortunately collected Chewy, so I'd like to apologise to him on the stream, just to sort of say sorry I ruined your race. We have spoke since, so you know it's usually quite friendly at Wheel to Wheel. There's never much animosity between drivers, but yeah, sometimes it's a long race when you're involved in a lap-on incident. But Old Dad's seems to have coped quite well, albeit he's looking like he's going to be getting a podium after a lap-on incident. He's far enough away from just Mikey at the moment to not be hurt from his penalties.
I mean, it's nice to know when one of us has a NAF Dubai race, the other one always seems to follow suit then, Blue.
And do you?
And I'm just riding on board now with our race leader as he enters onto the lap 52 of 55, and Dastardly is he is cruising. He's not having to push. He's just enjoying his time, not having to stress about anything. He's not running the car up over the curves too much. He's just wanting to bring that car home now in one piece. He knows he's done the job. He's just got to do the home stretch now.
Yep, he's not got any penalties. That department is taken care of. Tires are in fine shape, just 16 laps old. The mediums will be still in good shape. Nothing really for him to worry about here on these closing laps. Nobody near him on track.
Yeah,
the closest car to him is a lapped car. Or what will be a lapped car if he catches him. CHM, just up the road.
Interesting one to note though, Appleplex just picked up another penalty, putting him on 12 seconds, with Mikey only 13.2, or 13 seconds behind him. So we could see Mikey actually getting back up into the top 4 with these last couple laps to go.
Yeah, Dastardly really showing us how to race the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. I think Sega has been chipping away at that delta to him, but Dastardly's got so much of a lead as Sega picks up another penalty also. Dastardly just, as you say, cruising around, trying to manage his tyres, trying to manage his engine, just making sure that he can bring this car home comfortably with the race win.
And I think Mikey's just about to cross that 12-second gap now on the rubber that he's on. He's not seeming to let off at all. So again, getting involved in that first lap incident, another driver who's definitely come to life the second part of the race here, coming to the latter stages and finishing in the top half, most likely at this stage.
With just 3 laps to go, Mikey in 5th, his teammate in 8th. And they will be looking to both finish the season having scored points in every single race. All 22. That is so impressive.
That's an amazing achievement for one driver, let alone 2 of the same constructors.
Yep.
Mikey, there's 22 races in a season.
Yeah, there's more than 4 laps to Abu Dhabi as well.
Oh wow, okay. The more you learn. Right.
Mikey
That'll tickle you a
is...
bit, did it? Sorry.
Mikey's not had his best day, but he's up into 5th and under that 12-second gap to Appleplex, so it looks like he'll inherit 4th if he can keep this pace up. Getting 4th after that lap 1 would be an amazing achievement for Mikey. Really been a great drive. He's been under the radar. He's not been involved in much action since that lap 1 incident, but he's done well.
Got to throw it out there. He's only going to need a 9-second gap to Old Dad to make it a top 3. So again, it's a bit of a stretch, but I wouldn't count it out just yet.
I wouldn't.
Anything could happen in the last couple of laps.
It is possible, and also it's possible for any of them to pick up additional penalties still.
Yep. Just as likely that Old Dads could pick up another warning or 2. Which would, help Mikey possibly get that 3rd position.
So definitely got to say that for me, driver of the day would be Old Dad's. Having been involved in that incident at the start, he's really shown that it's a shame to have not seen him finish this race without that incident at the start, because he's currently 14 seconds behind Dastardly, who's really dominated this race, but that first lap incident would have set him back quite a bit, so to see where he would have finished without that would have been impressive.
I think there's been a lot of what ifs this evening, because even the same with the likes of Apoplex being alongside Dastardly at one point, that one pit stop completely changed, well, the path of the race for both drivers. And again, having to refer back to Bannister, if he was here, what could have happened? But Dastardly now starts his final lap of the race now, 11 to 12 seconds clear of P2.
I think, with respect to Old Dads, he's drove a great race, but Dastardly has been flawless from start to finish. He's made the moves when he's needed to, and then he's absolutely run away with it here in this final stint. There's not been any doubt here that Dastardly is going to take this race win. It's been very comfortable for him. He's controlled it. Just half a lap to go now.
The only question would have been is if Bannister hadn't DNF'd, because Dastardly inherited the position off Bannister after he DNF'd. So
yeah,
Bannister, with the massively impressive quali time that he put in, everybody else was in 5 tenths of each other, and he was 5 tenths in front of anybody.
But again, the traffic has shown how much that can change. Just Dastardly has made the moves when he's needed to, and he's kept that clear track, and he's made this gap up. The likes of the other drivers of Sega and Apoplex, where they've been caught up in traffic, we couldn't count out the same could have possibly happened to Bannister. No. Again, there's just so many what-ifs this evening. But Dastardly does enter the final part of the final lap of the race here. No questions asked. You've got to already be thinking he's done this when he's already celebrating. He must be at this point.
Dastardly 3rd in the championship. Bannister's out. Mikey was involved in an incident. So there is just Dastardly as he spins coming around the final corner.
Oh.
And he looks just to be celebrating.
He's really pushing his luck here.
Doing a little bit of donuts as he crosses the line. Dastardly wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
And I'm just running on board with Mikey though as he's coming into the final sector now. It's 11.3 difference between him and Old Dad's. This, beg your pardon, even without Apoplex even, so this is going to be a P4 run. If I've worked that out correctly, or I've just made a complete fool of myself. No, it is a P4 by 0.8 of a second as he crosses the line.
Our AL2 champion does well to recover all the way back to 4th. Apoplex with a great drive falls to 5th after penalties. Sega Takaz and Old Dads, both with great drives, earn their podiums. Prev crosses the line in 6th. Now just the old vet, Letdown Estate, and CHM to cross the line here to wrap up Season 15 in Wheel2Wheel Racing.
I think every driver tonight's done a good job to finish, as we all know how this track can catch any driver out. It looks like fairly simple, but it can happen.
I think all the drivers had their moment as well. I think we've seen some good battling from all the drivers at some point in this race. So hats off to everybody. Dastardly really showing us how to win a Grand Prix, his 4th win of the season. Sega, really impressive stuff. Can't wait to see next season from Sega Takaz and Old Dads off the back of a race win, picking up a podium. Impressive stuff.
So that was the season finale in Abu Dhabi. Driver of the day to Old Dad's Rule, did well to make his way through the pack and get himself on the podium. What a season it was, and what a drive it was from Dastardly as he takes the top step. We will see if we can get our podium sitters in here for an interview.
I've never seen Dastardly look so good.
Yeah, looking like we have a female avatar for Dastardly. So that completes our Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and we will just run down the final standings as we try and get some people in for race interviews. And we have Dastardly with the race win, which was a really impressive show of speed and pace throughout all of that Grand Prix. Sega Takaz, fantastic job to get up into 2nd place again, his highest finish of this season, matched a few times now. Old Dad's taking the 3rd and final podium step for Racing Point, and then Mikey involved in the first lap incident, managing to bag 4th place, Apoplex in 5th, Prev in 6th, a Letdown Estate in 7th, CHM 9th, and Bannister unfortunately DNF in early in the session, and Old Dad's taking the extra point for the fastest lap. So that,
just want to quickly throw out there as well, sorry, really quick on the lap times, how close they are coming to the end of the race as well, just touches back on how close they all were in qualifying.
Yeah, only a couple tenths in it for fastest lap as there was in qualifying.
I think Sega and Mikey nearly set identical lap times, less than half a tenth between them.
So then we are joined by the man who finished P2, Sega Takaz. He showed great pace in qualifying. And then,
Hey.
were you happy with that race?
Yeah. Yeah. Could you hear me?
Yeah, just make
Okay,
sure your voice
yeah,
is
his
allowing
voice
your
is
voice
heard
to be shared.
I can hear him on the stream.
Okay,
It's
that
good.
should.
Alright, all good then?
Okay, cool.
So,
Yeah, no, that was good. I'm happy with my pace in quali. And then when I saw Bannister going into the wall, I don't know what happened to him. I was like, I could maybe play for the first, the first place. And then I've seen the speed straight line, how you call it?
Yeah,
the
straight
speed
line
of
straight.
Dastardly. Yeah, thank you, mate. Of Dastardly, and I saw, okay, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. I don't know. I want that setup. I don't know what happened.
yeah,
was so fast.
you seem to be very strong in the 3rd sector. Was that sort of a result of your setup with the higher downforce?
Yeah, it was, but that was too much because in the straight line I could not do anything. against Dust at least. So yeah.
But you were able to make up a couple of positions. You had a late pit stop that dropped you back.
Yeah, that was for the show. That was for you guys.
Yeah, it was great to see. You didn't even wait for the straights. You got them on the hairpin. That seemed to be your signature move today. That was fantastic to watch.
Yeah, same. The show, only for the show. Yeah, I've seen. I couldn't catch Dastardly for sure. So I thought, let's have a bit of fun, and that was cool.
Yeah, it's great to watch.
Really impressive stuff, Sega. It's your 7th podium to match your 7th fastest laps. You was but that's it. I think next season we're going to see a lot from you. It's really going to be your season next season because Mikey Bannister will be moving up, so there's going to be Dastardly only in front of you to really bring the fight. So I'm really excited to see next season.
Yeah, same.
From someone who's raced Dastardly all season before, the older ones do break under pressure, so don't let up on them. All right.
Oh, okay.
You just broke me with that.
With that, we welcome our race winner, Dastardly. Well done, Sega, for P2.
Thank you.
And giving us a good show there at the end. But Dastardly, well, after Bannister went out, you really took control of the race, and was that one ever in doubt for you after Bannister crashed out?
No, Sega kept me, you know what I mean, he kept me honest. I knew he was always going to be there or thereabouts, but when I came around turn 4 and seen Bannister going out, it was like, oh no. I actually thought he'd not DNF'd at first, he just went off track. Shame. Last race and all.
Yeah.
We saw a little bit of an incident on turn 1. Have you got any point of view from that at the moment, or any comment on what you think may have happened?
I know I went into the back of Sega. Not enough to give me damage, but I tapped the back of Sega. And as I tapped him, I seen old dads coming up my inside on the left.
Yeah.
Now, when I came out of the corner, I went to look back, and it was just havoc. So I don't know if it was because of me hitting Sega, then old dads hitting me, and then everybody pilot. I've not a clue until I see it.
It did look like old dads made contact with you, and that spun him one way or another, and then he sort of collected Mikey in a letdown state.
Right, okay.
So it was very hectic.
Definitely 2 cars into one position that didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, we did say at the start, this is one of the tracks, turn 1, it's a squeeze.
Yeah,
it really is a squeeze, and you've got to be careful on this one. But we've had a lot of good turn 1s and a lot of good races, so it's just a shame it happened in the last one.
Well, I haven't seen you on the track for a while, and you didn't disappoint this evening, Dast, so well done on the win, mate.
Cheers, man.
Yeah,
good race, enjoyed it.
That was a dominant performance, and I know there's been talk about you for next season and maybe some contract negotiations in doubt, but if that was your last wheel-to-wheel race for a little while, just want to say it has been a pleasure commentating and racing with you, and you are an absolute wheel-to-wheel legend, mate. So congrats on the win and another great season.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Yeah, well done, well played.
My last one. I'm going to call it a day for a little while, let you guys get on with it.
Well, you've certainly served your time and won your fair share of races. So.
I was hoping to get a donut at the end, but Sega was too close.
I think you do half a donut.
We saw that.
Yeah. If I'd realised he'd had 6 seconds of penalties, I would have kept going. Yeah. No, cheers, guys. It's been great racing this season. Good fun. Enjoyed it thoroughly. Enjoyed every season thoroughly. But little holiday now.
Yeah, you deserve it, mate. Really great to watch you. Great to race with you.
Is that your last season, Das?
Yes, it is. I've been here for ever.
Oh, come on, man. Just an extra one.
I've been here since season 1, and it's like I was going to call it a day last season, and squeezed another one in. But that's me done now. Like,
Well,
I might drop in for a visit.
I was going to say, for old time's sake, we might have to do one last little race together.
Yeah,
Not 100%,
just-
but all on track.
Definitely.
You'll have to drop in sometime because Sega will be running away with it next season.
Yeah.
I'll pick some of my good tracks.
Yeah.
I'll drop in on them. No, you go for it next season, Sega.
Yeah, but I wanted that fight now.
Yeah, but I'm sure you'll get it because
Old
Old
Dads
Dads
is showing
is getting
great
quicker.
pace. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. If he doesn't have any penalty, he would be like on the podium all the time for sure.
Yeah, he's shown pace all season, but he has started to get those penalties under control a little more here as we've come
Yeah,
to
it's fast.
the end of the season. So,
I've got no doubt, as always, there'll be new drivers coming, so you never know.
Sure.
Dastardly, you will be missed, but we do look forward to what Sega Cause can do next season. And that is all from us for Season 15 for AL2 in Wheel2Wheel Racing. And we will take a couple weeks off and be back in Australia for Season 16. We look forward to another great season ahead in Wheel2Wheel. So we
Cheers,
thank
everybody. See you
Thank
all.
everybody for watching,
Ciao, ciao.
and all our drivers all season long. It has been great to watch, great to commentate, and we will be back. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, well done all. Stay safe.